in this building, it wasn't co-ed, so there was two separate um, sides, and then most of the workers called it girl side or guy side, for obvious reasons. They had it separated that way. They, yeah. We had guys dress up as girls in wigs, dressed up in girl clothes, heels, carrying purses, you name it. The guys did it.
Wait, to get into the girl side?
To get in the girl side, they would dress up as girls.
Yeah, you know what time it is. It's the Milkman, and you already know. Over here at milkmanTV, we ain't discriminating, y'all. Look, whether you are a freshman, soft, junior, senior, or graduate of the University of Oklahoma, this is your chance to be heard. Look, what are some of the pros and cons of OU? Because college is a very important step, and it can be costly if you don't know what you're getting into. So up next, we got a special guest who's going to share their unfiltered experience to help you shape yours. Let's go.
So my name is Abigail. I went to the University of Oklahoma and I studied in our College of Engineering, and my major was electrical engineering, just to get a little bit more specific.
Okay, perfect. So on a scale from 0 to 100, 0 being like avoid it like the plague, 100 being like you'd shave all your hair off just to go back again, how would you rate University of Oklahoma, and what's the reason why you would say that?
Okay. I would say probably a 70. I grew up being a diehard kind of Sooner fan, and for those like that don't know like what Oklahoma like Sooners are, it's um it's like the mascot of the school, right? So I was diehard. The family was diehard. I wanted to kind of please the family in a way too, but I also didn't feel very comfortable going out of state. Um, but I feel like I could have gotten a better education elsewhere, um, than like just specifically my state. And since I was already spending money, I would have rather spent money elsewhere and gotten a better education overall. But
Okay, all right. And then on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being very easy, 10 being difficult, how difficult was, I think you said College of Engineering?
the College of Engineering, it was probably like a difficulty scale.
Yeah.
I would say it's probably about an 8 or 9 for my specific college, just because I felt like there were other disciplines that might have been a little bit easier. But also, it's like overall, as long as you work really hard, anybody can realistically do it. It's just how you apply yourself and how you study, and how you go about it. But I would say, like, I had there at the end 3 or 4 really hard classes that I didn't think I was going to get through.
All right. And in your opinion, how was the admin? It could be like the school's admin, your program's admin, or both in general.
I think the College of Engineering had better admin than the overall university. I would say they kind of prepare the freshmen more than anything else, or like I guess they have preference over the freshmen because they want them to stay. But like you're in between years of, I guess, sophomore junior years, you kind of feel like you're a floater. And then as you get to like your senior year, you're kind of like, oh, okay, like I guess like I know advisors, or like I know more people that I've made like connections with over the years that I can do it by myself. But you kind of want, I guess, a little bit more help in the middle pieces. They kind of just throw you to the wind after freshman year.
Okay. Now, what's your favorite food?
Ooh, like on campus or
In
like
general,
just
in
in
general,
general?
yeah.
My favorite food is sushi.
Ooh. Okay, so now that we have an idea kind of like what type of food you prefer, how was the food on campus on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being very bad, 10 being very good? Now, it could be on campus, around campus, whatever you choose, whatever you like. It doesn't have to be sushi, just in general. How was the food?
Okay. I can do this in two separate sections, I guess. So, like on campus specifically, it was a lot better when I was a freshman, like before COVID hit, because we had a lot more places open. Like we had a Chick-fil-A on campus, we had a Baja Fresh on campus. We had a lot of different places. Like you could just like go in between classes, super quick, super easy. You could order it online, pick it up, and just like go. Um, I would rank that like 7 or 8. That's fine. After COVID, you're mainly just stuck with your school's cafeterias, which aren't as great. They have a lot of variety, but it's just not flavorful. It's kind of bland. I would give that one more like a 4 or a 5. But off campus food, like it's maybe like a 2 or 3 minute walk off of campus, and then everywhere else surrounding it is pretty easy to get to. Like you can drive there if you want. You could still walk if you wanted to. I would give that like an 8 or a 9. Great
Okay,
food
so what
overall.
made the campus food bland? Like, did they just not use spices, or was it just they prepared the same thing?
They like they didn't really use seasoning. I feel like it was just like bland. Like not even like salt, pepper, anything. Like it was just like not like nothing. It was just the food.
Okay, okay, okay. So next question: do you consider yourself introverted, extroverted, or both?
I would say going into college, I was more extroverted, or I tried to be. And then I kind of felt like people didn't really like it when you try to go out of your way. People kind of saw it as you're being overwhelming, or you're being too much, or like you're doing too much, like you're being extra. So I feel like college kind of turned me into an introvert, which is what got me more into like video games and like sitting online doing online stuff. So I feel like overall I'm more introverted now than I was, but in a workplace setting, like I can be a mixture of both. Like I'm a more toned down version of the outgoing me.
Okay, so I guess we're probably gonna know where you're gonna lean towards with this next question, and that is on a scale from 1 to 10, one being very hard, 10 being very easy. How easy was it to find friends or to make friends on campus?
um I feel like for the most part to make friends on campus, there are a lot of organizations that you can join to make friends, and you're around a lot of people, especially your freshman year. You have to live on campus for the most part, and you're surrounded by like those friends for like the rest of your years to come. Most people in Oklahoma, since most of them are from the South, a lot of people rush. There's Panhellenic organizations. There's I don't know what they call it, but it's like a multicultural Panhellenic. And then other than that, you have your in college organizations, and then you have like student council stuff. There's like social organizations, and like a ton of stuff that you could join just to like get more involved and meet a ton of people. So I would say it's still super easy to make friends.
Okay, so there was a lot of social groups,
Yeah,
even an antisocial social group if you wanted to be part of that.
yeah,
Okay,
totally.
okay. And okay, so did you live on campus or did you commute?
So my freshman year, I lived on campus. My sophomore year, I lived in house, like in sorority house, and then junior year, senior year, I lived on campus again in a dorm. I worked in a dorm. And then my 5th year, I lived off campus in an apartment.
All right, so how on a scale from 1 to 10, one being difficult, 10 being easy, how easy was it to find like on campus housing or housing around the area?
Okay, so on campus housing is super easy to find, I guess. For the most part, if you want to live on campus, again, freshman year, you live in the dorms. And then if you want to live in student housing still, as an upperclassman, they have dorms specifically for upperclassmen. And they also have apartments further off campus that normally people use a bus to commute to campus to. It's called like Traditions. And then there's a couple apartments that are considered off campus that are maybe like a 2 3 minute walk to campus that you could find. Super easy to find housing, and if you can't afford housing, the university's really good about working with you about like how you can pay for it. You can either do like grants, you can work with financial aid office, you can apply to be an RA. Again, like for RA, you have to go through like training specifically for it and then apply for it like a job. And then my way that I paid for housing was a little bit different. So I did Student Leadership Association in one of the dorms as their president. I was required to live in the dorm with a lot of the freshmen just to kind of get acquainted with them and figure out what they liked, what they disliked, to get them kind of interacting with each other. Um, and then Traditions, I'm still not exactly sure, just because most people that live on campus don't really live in traditions. I would say more people that come from abroad live in traditions than anything else, just because it's what the school recommends.
Okay. And you weren't an RA, right?
I did RA training and then I applied to be an RA. I was an alternate for an RA, but I did student leadership association, which is similar, just not more rule based. It was more like I'm gonna plan social activities for everybody in the
Oh, okay.
building. Yeah.
So did you have any like crazy moments as like under that position?
Okay, so not only did I work that position, I was also something called a desk clerk. So I checked a lot of visitors in for visitation. The building that I specifically worked in was a student athlete building. So we had to enforce curfew in this specific building, and then not a lot of the other dorms would enforce it as much just because they didn't have desk clerks in a way. So I would work main hours from like 12 a.m. to 3 a.m. because I didn't have class in the morning. I had classes in the afternoon. So I worked really late, especially on the weekends. The weekends got really crazy, I guess. I've had a lot of experiences of in this building, it wasn't co-ed. So there was two separate um, sides, and then most of the workers called it girl side or guy side for obvious reasons. They had it separated that way. They
Athletes.
Yeah. We had guys dress up as girls in wigs, dressed up in girl clothes, heels, carrying purses, you name it, the guys did it.
Wait, to get
Um,
into the girl side?
to get in the girl side, they would dress up as girls. One night I was working, and since it was like kind of a slower night, I could play games on my computer while I was down there. So I'd mainly just be doing that, and like people would like come down there, they would talk to me, kind of just like hang out. Like if they didn't have anything better to do, they would watch me play the games. But then people would start coming in from the bars, and one night I had people bring full on speakers, like I'm talking like speakers downstairs, just playing music. One night they had a giant dance party in the dorm, but like I was vibing, so I didn't really tell them to go away or anything. I was having a good time, so I was like, sure, y'all can stay. But I wouldn't say anything like too crazy happened. I feel like it's just like your typical college stuff that
Right, right,
went
right.
down.
So, what was like the most stressful scenario you experienced while you were studying there?
Most stressful experience, like school wise.
Anything. Yeah, it could be school, it could be like I interviewed a girl, she was talking about her ex-boyfriend was giving her hell, so like it could be anything. It
Okay.
could be family.
Um, I could give you an experience I had when I was out at the bars one night,
Okay.
I guess,
Yeah,
maybe.
yes.
I mean, it's not really necessarily to do with college, but like a lot of students from the college go to Campus Corner. Um, a stressful event was I was DDing for one night for my friend, and this was more during the summer, not during the school year. But we leave the bar at 2 a.m. and she's talking to friends. I'm really tired. I want to go home. And there's a guy that steals a car from a parking spot in front of us. And you just see a group of people like rushing to go get this car. This car backs into another car. A girl gets out. It's like, do you have insurance? Do you have insurance? Meanwhile, they're getting in a fight because this dude just stole the car, wrecked it. And now they're like, there's two fights going on between the groups of like friends, and then a lot of my friends are surrounding the fight, watching it go down. And my other friend that I'm like watching, babysitting, if you will, she was like, let's go watch. It's like, I don't have a good feeling about it. I don't think we should go over there. Like we need to go home. Like I'm ready to go sleep. And all of a sudden you just hear a pop in the air. And I was like, first instinct is just like check for bullet holes. I'm looking around like for my friends, and everybody just took off, like dispersed. We just take off running, and then I had to like drive around all the cops, and like I was like, how do we get out of here? They had all the roads blocked off. And just a very stressful moment, just for like the fact of like I thought one of my friends got shot. I thought I could have gotten shot, and like it was just like get out of there really quick. Um so that was a crazy night, but sometimes like the most stressful experiences, like I look back at that now and I crack up because I was like, why were we there and why did it happen kind of thing, because it was like so random. Because typically stuff like that doesn't happen down there. It just like we were there, it was that one night, it was just wild.
And the funny thing is, you should have listened to your intuition because you were like, yo, we shouldn't even be here. But
Yeah.
your friend who's drunk is like, yo, let's go watch. And you were
Yeah.
DD too, so you should have been the responsible one.
Yeah. I was like dragging her like with me. I was like, we need to go.
So what is one thing that you wish you knew before going to, is it University of Oklahoma?
Okay, so I went to a very small town school before I moved to like I guess like a big college town. So I wasn't very prepped, I guess, for classes, tests, all that kind of stuff, or a lot of people per se. So I wish I was like more prepped to actually study and take exams. And I wanted, I guess, to be aware that I would have to motivate myself more than anybody else would. And then I guess I would be prepared with the amount of people that were there because it's kind of like socially exhausting half the time.
And is it a big school?
Um, I would say it's bigger than most schools. I think it's the biggest school in Oklahoma. And then I think there's like 20,000 people enrolled in one, like over
Campus?
4 years.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
like undergrad.
Yeah.
Okay, got you. Okay. All right, so there you have it. Some pros and cons of OU. Was there something we missed that you feel should have been said? If so, leave your comments below because you never know who you'll wind up helping. But anyways, you know it's the Milkman, baby, and I'm about to log off like Facebook. But in the meantime and in between time, smash that like, tap that sub because I'm off this. Easy, fam.